Hugo, it is an absolute pleasure to have you here today, the AI Optimist. Now that brings a whole range of things into people's minds. Talk to me a little bit about AI. What is it? How do you see it?
Yeah, well, thank you for having me. Awesome to be here too. So AI is really a very badly named thing, isn't it? Artificial intelligence just sounds Terminator. It sounds scary. And so the AI Optimist is my positioning of recognizing lots of people feel really scared about AI. And then lots of people are telling you that you can be a billionaire in 3 seconds with absolutely no effort. And like actually listening to those two groups doesn't really help anyone understand what AI is. And most importantly, like what it can actually do for you. So as the AI Optimist, my job is to really help people make sensible decisions today so that we can create a tomorrow that we all actually want to live in. And AI is actually an amazing tool that empowers people to be able to bring their dreams to life, whatever that is. And that can be a dream of having more time, so when you're running your business, that you're not just constantly doing 11 p.m. stints of chasing invoices, through to doing startups and being able to actually, really have a massive ambition for what you are bringing into the world. So for me, AI, artificial intelligence, is probably better named easy magic. Because that is really what it is.
Okay, easy magic.
Look, so magic top as well.
Look at that, you have got your magic top on here. So just give me a little bit of background about you. Because you're obviously leading on this. You've got some great knowledge, some great expertise. You're running some great training programs. How did you get involved?
So I was very lucky. In 2010, I had a business partner who had been ridiculous and done an AI degree in the 90s. So we actually were looking at the AI space partly because I'm a property data geek.
Okay.
It's a strange hobby, very small crowd, but I love looking at property data and seeing what that can tell me about the property market. Don't ask me why. I don't really understand it myself.
It's just for fun.
Yeah, it calms me. It's weird. And what I saw was that the way that the banks think of a property is like this asset, an asset manager view, and so they think about the location, and you even have shows like location. I thought, when I see my family walking around a house, it's absolutely not this logical asset management. It's really human. It's like, does the flow of the inside-outside space work for the parties we want to have? Is the colour on the wall what I saw in a magazine? Does that bath look like it's comfortable? And so I thought, if I'm able to create predictions based on this human stuff, then we'll be able to get a really good model doing. So we decided to do what's now called training a foundational model, which predicted property prices. We got better results than Rightmove and Zoopla. And then I thought, this is the one. As an entrepreneur,
here we go.
We're on to a winner. But I hadn't yet discovered this wonderful world of what they call ML Ops, which is the gnarly process of taking this amazing thing that you've created in a research setting and actually making it useful in the real world, which is why all those AI companies need a lot of money. So luckily, we partnered with IBM Watson. We were the first in the UK to do so. Founded London's first AI consultancy, did a load of machine vision due diligence for investors, and then decided to do a proper AI startup to create an agentic system for conveyancing. Before I realised how little intelligence there actually is in the conveyancing system to artificialise, which I wish I'd spotted a little bit earlier. But this for me was another one of my entrepreneurial journeys. I started doing this when I was 6, selling potpourri to golfers. I've tried to start airlines. I have created, products for both really large companies like the Times iPad app, Vogue's first B2B business, and I've worked with small companies as well. So I've been always looking at, how do we help people bring these amazing ideas that they have to life, whether that is like an idea for anything. Like, if there's a problem to solve, how do you help people solve it?
So you've been
and
fully immersed, Hugo, fully immersed in a range of
about
different
15 years of AI.
problems and things which you've been able to overcome, and look at the way in which AI could support it.
Yeah, I mean, what it actually gave me was a very early understanding of the size of the change that's happening.
Sure.
So actually, I founded a social enterprise to teach teenagers the AI skills that they need. So Sherpa's AI teaches teenagers those skills and gets them to do innovation projects. So they're learning how to solve problems. And so we've had 5,000 teenagers go through the Sherpa's program so far, through paid work experience and our entrepreneurship program, 16 by 16. So that was really kind of recognizing, this is a generational shift. We need lots and lots of people to use this amazing, easy magic to go and create the world that we want to live in. So that's kind of been what I've been
Which is
focusing
awesome,
on.
Hugo, and
Yeah.
you're embedded in it, and I love the self-employment piece. I love creating opportunities for young people. And what I always find quite interesting is when you speak to the older generation who are in business, they go, oh yeah, all the youngsters know about AI, but they don't know everything.
No.
And that's the really interesting bit about giving them
Yeah.
the skills, the knowledge, the ability to use it to function around what they want to do and what they want to achieve.
Exactly.
And that for me is fundamental, because no one's doing that at the minute, Hugo, apart from you.
Yeah. So, with great power comes great responsibility. We've heard that in many a superpower film. And really, what this AI technology is immensely powerful. A lot of people don't recognize they need to take control of that. And that requires work. It requires learning the skills. It requires really thinking about, actually, what am I trying to put into the world? Whether you are, running an SME with 50 employees and you're thinking about, how do I change my P&L so my bottom line increases by 50%, which is now totally feasible to do. Or if you are a solo entrepreneur working out, how do I get an extra day so I can do my strategic thinking rather than all the operational stuff, you need a system and tools and skills to be able to do that. So the way that I share this with people is that there are 3 jobs that everyone needs to do. The first job is you need to get enough space in your day to wrap your head around what's happening.
To think.
So you need to create this headspace. The second is you need to make enough room in your P&L to invest in the future. And then the third is that you need to reinvent your business, thinking that if I've got this easy magic that's available with the AI, then what does this actually look like? And that's about, how big should my ambition be? Mm-hmm. And it's about actually, what do I want to do when I take all of the chains off this? I'm not worried about, any of my costs of doing things. Because if we take a step back and ask ourselves, what's happening in the world right now? This isn't about technology. It is an economic shift.
Totally.
So, the cost of doing drops down to 0. That's what's happening right now. So your cost of writing words, of writing code, of creating images, all of those things are dropping down towards 0 in terms of cost to produce. And that also means that eventually, even things like in manufacturing, because all of those machines are controlled by words and code, so they also reduce in cost as well. So you've got this complete change in the economy because our economy has been built on doing. We've created businesses that create and store value through doing. So it creates a real shift in terms of what we need to do. But actually, we need to look at what's going to go up in value because it will rebalance.
Yeah.
And so the things that I've identified that go up in value is, first of all, meaningful human connection. And there's a really simple reason for this, which is we're going to be flooded with AI-generated content. I mean, you've already heard the term AI slop.
Yeah.
You've already heard the people saying, I can tell that's AI-generated.
Yep.
Well, you've got the videos, you've got the images, you've got the pictures, cheap to produce. Lots of people just produce them at scale. And all that means is all of your digital channels become less relevant. You're just like, I'm not interested in that. And you'll seek out people who you've met in the real world, who you like and connect with, to take their view on
personal
things.
validation,
right?
Rather than fake information.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what teenagers are doing. They're using private networks over the kind of mass social channels for their kind of most important decisions, right? So, their groups on WhatsApp, their groups on Snapchat are really where the conversation's happening, not on TikTok. They might consume things on TikTok, but that's not as much whereas kind of older people are still kind of like much more in that space. And also, it means that this isn't just about, it's nice to have meaningful human connection. It shifts that your business model needs to extract value from meaningful human connection. And really, for most organizations historically, that has been called marketing or sales, or maybe ESG or community impact, or some label which was not your core profit model.
Yep.
And therefore, the budget for it was smaller than the things that were doing related. That's shifting. And then the other things that are shifting are the ability to hold risk wisely. And by that, I mean, if you can look to the future and see what's happening more effectively and better than others, if you can say, Alex, I'll do this piece of work for you, and you don't need to pay me anything, because when we look at the results, I will take a percentage of the results that I've been able to create for you. I'm taking risk. You can say, great, let's get started, and there's no risk to you.
And you share the ownership.
And you share the ownership of that. And the problems with that have been the amount of doing that analysis and predicting the cost of that prediction meant that I was taking a lot of risk and you were getting zero risk, and that wasn't balanced. So actually in this new economy, those sorts of structures become much, much more effective. And being able to build that into your business model will be really powerful. And then, of course, there's purpose, because when people come together, there has to be this kind of joint dream that they have, that they all buy into for it to be valuable, because you can actually do everything for zero cost. Like, why would you work with others? And so for anything that's a bigger mission, that's going to be really important. And it ties into the need, as you lean into this amazing, easy magic, to really unlock the value. And when you're really thinking about how do I, as a small business owner, really get value from this, like how do I remove all the chains so I can increase my ambition without worrying? Because at the moment everyone's worrying, and that's not a great place to be.
And I'm sitting here very quietly for a change, just listening and contemplating, because the world around us is saying, AI is going to come and take your jobs. It's going to ruin your world. And it seems like there's going to be this mass infestation of IT-related stuff, and we're going to lose the human connection. However, what you're saying is because the way in which it's being driven down to a zero cost, the human connection is far more important now more than ever.
Yep.
So it's a complete spin, and I absolutely love it, because I see it as you do. I'm very much community driven.
Yep.
I'm very much about how we embed people within society to do greater things for the greater good.
Yep.
And actually, it's not all about the capitalism which is sitting behind it. And this suddenly changes the perspective of what can we achieve, how do we do it, and what tools are there to facilitate us.
Exactly.
Now that for me is a massive shift, not only at a local community level, but for some of those large organisations who have purely been based about making money from doing.
Yep.
And actually, if we're changing that perspective, that's massive.
It is. It's absolutely
and it's really
huge.
exciting compared to it being the doom and gloom which is put out there.
I mean, it gives us an opportunity, to renew everything.
Yeah.
Who's annoyed about potholes? Pretty much everyone.
Yeah.
Right. For me, I've started to actually try and be grateful to them, because I'm like, I've got to try and change this interaction with them. I'm going to hit them every day.
Yeah.
May as well try and make it positive.
And we'll enable tyre companies to be more beneficial.
Exactly.
And
Well,
create new products.
For me, they're just a reminder that we've got an abundance of problems to solve.
Yeah.
When people talk about the issues that we're going to have with job displacement, I'm certainly not sticking my head in the sand. Right? Is that there is, when you talk about the economy having been built on doing and that dropping to zero, a seismic shift happening. And one of the reasons why smaller businesses are so vital is that if you're in a large corporation and you are saying, how do we implement AI? Your easiest business case is going to be a headcount reduction business case, because you have a lot of people and you can now do this. And trying to increase your ambition as a large organisation is going to be hard work. As an SME or a micro business, you've been resource constrained and you've had dreams that you could not realise for a long time. So if I say, here's some easy magic to make your dreams come to life that you can just magic out of thin air, what happens is you grow.
Yeah.
And what does that do? It creates jobs. So we need to really support the smaller businesses to drive that growth, to rebalance that jobs economy. That's the first part of my mission. because when we do that, actually, I mean, the whole economy benefits from better diversity. And actually, one of the sort of policies that I do really like that I've seen from the government is the move towards the civil service actually having to make massive awards to SMEs over corporates in the procurement space.
Yeah, procurement space is
That
huge at
is
the minute.
really, really valuable part of that. And then when you actually start to kind of look at that, you realise that what's going to happen is all these corporates are going to get rid of people. And those people have all of the knowledge of how those corporates worked, and they've had the ideas of, we could have done it this way. And what they've just been given is this easy magic of AI to go, I'll do it then. Because actually as an entrepreneur, you're at this point in time where you have just been given the most powerful tools imaginable.
An opportunity.
An opportunity, because everything is up for renewal. Everything. Nothing is off the table. And the hardest part is to really dream big, which is strange, right? Because as an entrepreneur, we've been trained, look, it's a 95% failure rate. It's all about execution. It doesn't matter about the ideas. So we've been in this space, and that was true. Like, that has been true. But this technology actually says, well, you know what? Actually, I can give you a system, an accelerator, that can take your dream, you can tell me your dream, and I can create something that will run the processes of running experiments to validate a business model.
And we can
create your website.
We've got time, and it's fast.
It's all done.
Which is everything which has been constrained before.
Exactly.
Time, cost, and the energy of the people who are trying to drive it forward because they're focused on everything else.
Exactly. You know, when I started to create a website, be between 50k and 100k just to create a website. And so, you know, you're trying to raise money to just even kind of like get off the ground, which means you have to ask permission to bring your idea to life.
And other people have control then.
Exactly.
I don't know about you, but I'm a bit of
Exactly.
a control freak myself and don't let people in.
Exactly.
But in the historical world, you weren't having the freedom to do as you wished because people's money gave control.
So what's interesting with that conveyancing startup that I did, I tried to create a whole new system. Because like, well, we can just create the whole system, right? That's what this technology can do. But of course, to get funding, like, no, what you need to do is create a tool for the conveyancer to make their life easier.
Yeah.
So what happens with that control is people have been used to getting you to solve a smaller problem, which is now the opposite of what you need to do to thrive as an entrepreneur. So I talk about these superhuman problems, the problems that were too big for one human to even keep in their head. Like climate change related issues, equality related issues. Like, why are there going to be kids in this town who are not being fed? As a society, why do we let that happen? Right? Is that not a problem that people want to solve? And the thing is that actually, those are systemic issues. They're too big. You know, the number of parties involved in solving those issues are enormous. They span all of the government organisations that are very hard for small organisations to work with. And now we have easy magic to lean into solving those problems. And the truth is, the value of those problems is huge. So if you are able to create a solution that solves those problems, that leans into meaningful human connection, holding risk wisely, having purpose at the centre of what you're doing, and you're collecting proprietary data that drives your AI systems forward, you're going to create amazing businesses.
Got everything there.
And you can do that today yourself without having to ask permission.
So what's really interesting, Hugo, we've got 25,000 micros within Suffolk.
Yeah.
I know that anybody who's listening to this podcast is saying, how do I start?
Yeah.
I'm hearing this, I'm engaging with it, I want to do amazing things, and I want to use that little bit of magic which we're talking about.
Yeah.
How do we just even start? They've never even dabbled in this before.
Yep.
They may be looking at a retail space they've got. They may be looking at a cafe or something like that. And they're just going, tell me more, which is the really important bit. So they can start to learn and just experiment. What are your thoughts and feelings around that? Where can they actually just start this journey?
Yeah. So obviously the reason that I created AI Night School was specifically so that I can support those people and kind of having that starting point.
Sure.
And through AI Night School, we've got kind of the programs for leaders, the AI Fellowship, which actually takes you on a 6-week journey to be able to go and learn all of those tools of actually what is this doing and how do I start, which is the really practical skills base, right? Because there's some prompt techniques and context engineering and systems thinking.
And all these words.
Yeah, and they're all
no
kind of
nets.
new words, and it's like, basically what it means is that you're going to get to this point of having an aha moment. And really, the real starting point is the moment it clicks for you, oh, I can actually trust this to do so much, and that word do kind of being really important. And what I've seen after that point is that it really unlocks people actually going on their own learning journey. So we've got all of the kind of online courses that they can then go and follow.
And interestingly, Hugo, do you think they start with a personal thing which they explore, or a business thing? Because I know some work I was doing with some young people, and they're like, yeah, we're trying to write a song. We've got some lyrics we want to get in, but we just can't make it work.
Yeah.
And I was like, let's just type it into the little bit of magic. Yeah. And within seconds, they got a song that was created, which they enjoyed. Yeah. And then they tweaked and they played, and they're like, we're going to do this again. Yeah. And all of a sudden, it's like that little bit of excitement suddenly tipped from a personal need into, I can use this for so many other things. And it's just that playing. And playing's important.
Playing is so important. I mean, what I talk to people about is that you need to go back to being a kid, because what you have to learn is like an entirely new world. Yeah. And so if you go back to that wonder of being a childlike, kind of no purpose, just go and play. So the AI Leaders Fellowship, we focus on creating an AI strategy, which can be for anything you want to do. Super. Like a strategy for how do I stop stressing about managing my house, or a strategy for I want to change jobs, or anything. And it can be for work, it can be for your personal life. At the moment, I have been thinking about actually, what I want to do is create an AI system so that I'll be wearing clothes that will attract the sorts of people that I want to hang out with.
Wow. Okay.
So I said, okay, what I want to do is I want you to identify the brands that kind of match this sort of energy with these sorts of people. So I've got massively into ecstatic dancing and just dancing around like a lunatic. So how do I kind of go
old
and
school
make
Hugo.
That? Old school, exactly. It's awesome. And, actually the AI can go out, it can create a what I call a sentinel, which kind of goes out and collects information into the world, and then it'll just pull it back, and it'll just go, right, what's your budget? What have you got at the moment in your wardrobe? And it will manage that for me. So, I've been interested in fashion, but I never really spent time on it because I haven't had time, right? I've been doing too much. And so that's really interesting, because then I'm like, oh, hang on, that whole system can work in a business context.
In terms of brand positioning, alignment, all of those bits.
It's the same thing, right?
All of those.
So that's the same as how do I go and meet my actual customers and really kind of, get that resonance when I'm doing proposals? Yeah. It's the same thing.
And actually, if you talk it and you feel it and you have emotional engagement with it, that can then be transcribed into what you're trying to achieve. Yeah. And you create your culture.
Exactly.
And you create your brand and you create your product positioning. And it takes it away from the early stage mood boards where you actually look at the personas into something which has got a lot more depth and a lot more information for you to work with.
Exactly.
Wow. Hugo.
And actually, the thing that I've found myself doing most is walking around in the forest near where I live, talking to my phone. With the dancing and that, you can kind of imagine that I'm the crazy person in the village.
Who's that man in the woods?
Yeah.
Who's that man in the woods?
And the reason for that is what I have to do is try and work out how can I be at peak performance. Yep. And we haven't had to do that. Athletes have had to do that. If you think about an athlete's business, they might have, if they're a sprinter, 10 seconds of performance. And everything else rides on that 10 seconds of performance. Yeah. Right? All of the sponsorship deals, for a footballer, right? That moment when they're kicking a ball at that moment in time can be worth millions of pounds because it was them being themselves in that moment and training for it. And that's a completely different model to how we've run businesses, right? I mean, how big is your training budget? Right? I can tell you it's not big enough.
Most organisations, salaries and training are the first things which get reduced when there's a tight period of time.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, actually, I need to move. I've got ADHD. I need to move. I need to be kind of in nature to really kind of get the brain firing. And when I do that, and I speak in to my phone, then I'm going to produce my best work. If I try and type that into a computer and trap myself in a machine, that doesn't work for me. So I've actually created an idea bottle, a wooden microphone that's like super ergonomic and nice to hold, and it's got a little windbreaker.
It's natural.
And it's natural,
Yeah.
and it's kind of very me, and it's got fabric inside, and so I can speak into it, and it captures my idea. I can plug that into my machine, and it will go and create that for me. So I can create anything from a proposal to a website to a LinkedIn presence with a full feed of content for the next 6 months.
Through our passion
Just
and
by
presence,
chatting.
through our passions and presence, and using what we've got, which we've
Yeah,
been given,
exactly.
which is our voice. So really interestingly, Hugo, where do we see this? Because there's going to be a few people who say, we hear all of this stuff. So they're unsure about taking a risk. They're unsure about their role and how they may have to change to actually show that they're still doing well. And then where does that all balance? So like your risk, your ethics, your balance. How do you see that? Because I'm fascinated right now. I'm probably drawn into this. I'm already talking into my phone. I'm already using things like ChatGPT to bring my emotion and my feeling into it, because actually it is quicker and it gives more of a resonance about me.
Yep.
Which is where I feel it's important.
Yeah, exactly. So what I've seen through all of the people that I've worked with, both in kind of adopting AI across organisations, where some people are being, I suppose, kind of more pulled on the journey, and then in the kind of AI Night School direct work, where people have chosen to come through, is that, one, getting and dealing with the fear is really important, because people are scared. Those headlines are really dominating people's understanding of this. And the best way to start dealing with that fear is to educate yourself, lean into understanding it more deeply so that you can make your choice of what you believe. Because otherwise, you're actually being controlled quite a lot by those headlines.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what they are there to do. Having worked for Murdoch for a while, I've been part of that world.
Grab your attention.
So the first part is kind of really understanding what's going on. And I think about, again, kind of the way I talk to people about it is you need to understand what's going on in your market in the world right now, and you need to respond to it as you. You need to prepare for what's coming next, and you need to consider what might happen. You need to do all of those things at the same time, which is why that headspace piece is so important. But, the promise that we make to people on AI Night School is I can give you 2 days a week back in the next 6 weeks for you to have that headspace. And I can take 25% out of your P&L in the next month so that you can actually invest in this new future. Your job is to lean in.
And engage. And become immersed and get all of that knowledge and all of those bits and pieces.
Yeah.
So some quick fire questions, if I'm going to be really honest, Hugo. A tool everyone should be using.
Claude,
okay. Biggest myth around AI?
That it's going to take everybody's jobs.
Okay. One thing AI will never replace?
Humans' ability to hold space for each other.
Look at that, that's amazing. And the most exciting thing about AI right here, right now, this second, which you could put your finger on?
Is the ability to run a whole business from scratch using it without actually having to do the doing.
Oh my goodness, Hugo, that's absolutely amazing. For all those guys watching, if you need more information, feel free to contact Hugo, AI Optimist. He has got some amazing products, he's got some amazing thoughts, some feelings, some emotions, but more than that, he has the knowledge to support you with your business in any way you want to. Thanks for watching.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Hugo. Pleasure.
Cheers.